Thank you all for joining me for our first call back after our recent training event. It was so awesome spending time with you and getting to know your personal practices and your personalities. Jonathan has been called into a last-minute client save, so I'm subbing in on this call to serve as a guide as you springboard into your marketing options, and also to connect the dots on some of the resources and processes you've likely begun to explore over the last week or so. So please catch Jonathan on the next weekly case design call coming soon. I'll be sure to send out an invitation following this call. And for that, be sure to submit any cases to me that you'd like him to review on a life cycle model with as much detail and information as possible. Before we jump in, I'm just going to set a few ground rules. Right now, everyone is muted. I will open up the lines at the end of the call to answer any questions. This call is also being recorded, and it will be posted to the Academy website within 24 hours. The credentials you received from me recently will give you access to that. So let's get this ball rolling. Where are you right now? You should be reviewing the website, the Academy website. You should also be looking at all of the different training resources that we have listed there. You should be visiting the Academy website daily, if not every other day. You should have, at least by now, downloaded the different calculators, and you should probably start playing with those, exploring how they work. You should also have reviewed the step-by-step guide to better understand Jonathan's 4-step process. And by now, you should also be taking advantage of the hundreds of video hours content that we have that'll help you master things like our 4-step process, calculator use, and our one-of-a-kind care program. The main goal of this call today is for me to lay out the main resources that you have available to you now with the Academy. So let's go into those. I like to call them the Big Four. So what are the Big Four? The Big Four are one, joint work. The second one is our Social Security mail drop. The third one is using the FEP nonprofit umbrella to book workshops using through agencies and organizations. And there's also going to be FEP workshops using our library option. So I'm going to go into each of these step by step and give you a bit of a framework on each of them. Just want to encourage you all to use the Q&A function at the bottom, and I'll definitely be sure to take questions as they come in. So the first one is joint work. So who is joint work for? Joint work is for anyone and every single person on this call. No one can really afford to not shorten their learning curve, and to put yourself in the best position to win the quickest. This is going to be your best option. You'll be teamed up with Jonathan or another experienced senior consultant under the Financial Education Partnership. You're going to want to do this as soon as possible. You're going to want to do this now. Now that you're armed with your client pre-approach letters to re-engage everyone you've worked with, you should be beginning to set up appointments on Jonathan's joint work calendar. And I just wanted to go over a quick edited pre-approach letter on how a joint work email should go. And that could go a little something like this. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. Happy New Year's. I was reaching out to see how you were doing, how's the holiday, etc. I was going over your file and personally identified that you have a complex financial situation based on our last review we did together. I want to let you know that I have had the privilege of working with a board of directors who are some of the most elite tax experts in the country and whom also founded the largest educational nonprofit in the country. As a resource group, they are volunteering some of their time this month to help us with cases that we feel need their expertise and support. They have agreed to look this over, being one of the complex situations, and give a complimentary tax analysis as a compliment to what we've done together. If you're opening to have them review your situation, we should schedule a conference call to have them look at any areas concerning taxes, estate planning, and more. And you can also let them know, in addition to that, that some cases they have been able to save some clients between 30 and 50% in taxes. So that's just an example of that client pre-approach letter that's going to introduce them a bit to Jonathan, a bit to the nonprofit. Now to just kind of get into how to go about doing this all. Granted, there's a very lined out process that if you've interacted with me at all so far and reached out regarding it, you've already reached out to Gabriella and received some guidelines and some templates. But just to kind of give you an overview, of course, it is a 1-hour teleconference. We do use GoToMeeting for our viewing purposes. Please make sure to send your documentation to Gabriella at f3eonline.org along with date options. I do ask that you always include your time zone. We're working with multiple people at a time, so being able to navigate clearly the time zone is super important to my staff. And just to kind of further make it a turnkey process for you, our team is going to make the model, so once you get those documents from your client and submit them, we're going to put it all together. We're going to do all of the planning and case prep. The only thing we're going to ask you to do to learn and to expand along the way is to take notes and then submit them to Gabriella via email following the meeting. So why joint work? As it says here, the goal for joint work is to really turbocharge your practice. Being able to see all of the different types of cases that are closing or Jonathan can close and the methods at which he does close them is just going to expand your knowledge base. Once you've done at least maybe a dozen or so cases, I can agree that you'll be able to progress almost any case, as well as be able to look at your existing practice and find prospects that you originally did not consider. I would also say that you could easily be our next, of course you've heard Jonathan discuss Scott Hill. You could be our next Scott Hill to go from 3 million in sales to 20 million. And Scott Hill, even to this day, is still doing joint work with Jonathan just to keep himself fresh, to keep himself up on the different strategies and to keep him really in the loop and in the game as far as adhering to the step-by-step processes, understanding and using the calculators, learning the different changes in the different niche markets that you're in to kind of be able to better equip yourself to have informed conversations. So joint work is really, in my opinion, one of the best ways to go about expanding what you're already currently working with as far as your database and your clients, but it's also going to help you the most in the long run, being able to help your clients down the line with things that you currently may not be able to do. Now let's go into number 2, which is our Social Security mail drop. So this is a 10-piece mailer, which leads to 2 workshops. It's guaranteed to bring in 35 to 40 people, each to a local library near you. This particular mail drop program has been targeted in D.C., the rural Midwest, Texas, and is geared towards targeting folks with earning over $100K or more per year. This is going to be ideally for the advisors looking to get in front of qualified prospects without the fuss of excessive outreach. It's a bit of a turnkey option for a Social Security presentation. It comes with a detailed process from start to finish that gives you all of the guidelines, the expectations, and those how-tos. As the advisor with this particular workshop, you would be able to present, and we're also able to send one of our seasoned experts to present for you if public speaking is not your forte. And for those that may just not have a comfortable knowledge base on the topic, we also have recorded videos of this workshop. We have scripts for the workshop, and we have plenty of other resources that we'd be able to show you that would be able to set you up for success within the process. It is something to keep in mind that this particular process is designed for 2 or more players, and you would be set up as the go-to person to meet with following this workshop if one of our one of our speakers would be presenting for you. This does require a bit of premeditated prep, as it's supposed to be scheduled at least 6 to 8 weeks out. And it also features an attendee confirmation service called Teledirect, which tracks the confirmations and registrations along the way just to further make that a bit easier for you. Now let's move on to FEP workshops through government agencies, small businesses, and all types of organizations. Through FEP, you're provided with the branding, the web presence, and the resources to begin connecting within groups in your local area, as well as within your immediate circle of influence. With our system, we have been able to overcome a lot of the shiny technology aspects. We have workshops that are tailored for likability and are created to find qualified and motivated people to do business with. We do have a process on that from start to finish, supporting scripts, emails, one-on-one training with me, not to toot my own horn, the well-known marketing guru in our particular office, just to kind of help you further build out on the footprint that FEP already has. And I'll also be able to tell you how to use that footprint to create new and then reoccurring workshops, relationships with prospect host organizations. And that's, of course, going to lead you to more motivated clients. So being able to go into the doors of CIA and FDA and Secret Service and the National Security Agency. Going with this particular option is going to be a bit more time consuming because it's going to require a bit of training. But with all of the resources that we have, role play, one-on-one, I'm confident that I could help anybody become successful in their local market with getting into these types of agencies and organizations. I will say that with the FEP workshop option that we're looking at now, we're able to build out on the branding, we're able to help you build out on the infrastructure, and I'm even able to help you build out the order of operations to begin branching out into this immediately. So this is something that you could start as soon as possible and will probably give you some traction within a couple of weeks with practice and one-on-one training. And then our last but not least option here is FEP workshops through local libraries. So this is a great go-to option for my one-man and one-woman show. It piggybacks off of the previous options with organizations and agencies, but with this route, you can supplement a social media campaign through Accelamark, who does our Social Security mail drop option, or you're able to use that local library that you're connecting with. You're able to use them as a marketing tool as well because they have the capacity to put you in their monthly or weekly newsletters. They have the ability to help you spread the news word of mouth through staff. They're going to have the ability to put you in their event calendar. And although this option has a couple of tricks and nuances with it, because every library and the methods of connection is going to be different, you will find that most libraries will let us come in and do these workshops for free because we're a nonprofit, and if not free, they're usually offered at a reduced nonprofit rate. So this is what you're going to want to do if you want to get started right away, but you don't have a lot of marketing capital to put into your campaign. I do say supplementing this option with a social media campaign is going to be something that really does springboard it. Facebook and the technology involved has changed the game. The Social Security workshop, the Social Security social media campaign to supplement the free library workshop option is going to be $12.50 per campaign. But we're seeing results from anywhere from 21 to over 100. But throughout most of the country, we're seeing a consistent results between 30 to 40 range, and that is confirmed butts in seats. I would say that the FEP workshops through the local libraries is going to be also a good route if you don't have a interest in social media, because with this option you're able to use many of the workshops that we have available on our website. So you would be able to present workshops, for example, 10 Steps to Financial Freedom, Advanced Social Security Planning, College Planning 101, and again, there are videos, scripts, and resources to help with all of these different things. And this is going to be helpful so that you can set your own pace. If you're not interested in Social Security, being able to begin with the 10 Steps to Financial Freedom, which is a fairly easy workshop, one of the ones that we tend to intro with. It's going to be a very simple workshop to get you in front of motivated clients right away. And then these types of workshops can be scheduled, I would say, within 3 to 4 weeks out at the minimum. So it's not as quick as joint work. It's not as necessarily as expensive or as costly as the Social Security option, but it does give you the opportunity to try your hand at public speaking, to get practice, to still get in front of clients, and to do that in a timely fashion. So now that I've kind of touched on each of the 4 options, I'm just going to go back and see if I can fill in any blanks. So just to kind of recap over a couple of the things I think it's important for you to know about the Big Four in general. Joint work is a game changer. I encourage everybody to do at least 6 to 12 joint work cases. As far as the mail drop is concerned, if you're interested, please connect with me after this call, and I'll be sure to send you all of the updated resources, the PowerPoint that we have, all of the demographic information that you'd want to know, all of the stats and analytics on it. I would say that for the Social Security mail drop process, we typically send out 7,500 flyers at a time, but we recommend 10,000 as that's what we piloted for our DC area. We do have a template for the follow-up after the workshop is done. For the Social Security workshop option. And I will say for the FEP workshop option through the agencies and organizations, not only is there a process from start to finish, but there's an awesome segue that you're able to use to create those reoccurring and new host relationships to create repeat workshop hosts. And I just wanted to show you guys what that looked like. Because that has, here we go. That for me has done so much. So what you're looking at now is the Financial Education Partnership, what I call utilization report, or host report for short. This is what we provide to the host after we do a workshop. And this could be provided to a host for the organizations and agency option, and this is also going to be something you can provide to the host at the local library if you're using that option. But what this does is it puts all of the analytics from the feedback surveys that we give out at the end of each workshop. It puts all of that information into analytics. So you've got bar graphs here at the bottom. You've got your circle graphs here. It tells you the educator's effectiveness, the curriculum quality, and down here below it shows you the topic of interest. And these topics of interest is just the perfect next segue into your next workshop. So saying something to be effective, here's this report that's going to show you what your attendees want most. And next, what I'm seeing here is that they're really interested in TSP strategies and tax planning. So I think we should consider doing taxes in the IRS again, and then perhaps understanding your TSP in a series maybe 3 or 4 weeks from now. So I just wanted to show you this option as another resource that we have for the FEP workshop options for the libraries and the organizations and agencies. And the last thing I wanted to connect on before I open up the line for questions is that for joint work, if you are interested in joint work, you will definitely need to reach out to your 15 to 20 top clients that you've worked with in order to move them over to Jonathan's calendar. And you're going to want to do that through Gabriella, copying myself, and using that time zone so that we can make sure that your meeting is scheduled at the right place at the right time. Collecting documents is super important for this meeting, and so what you're looking at here now is the document checklist, and this is all of the information, all of the documents that we request that goes into that financial model. That financial model is going to show your client their financial wellness on a whole scale. And so just making sure that that information is obtained and sent over to our team before the appointment so that we can have everything in order well before is going to be super important and vital to your success. So I'm going to pause our recording, and then I'm going to open up the line for questions.